Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the Big Money Show, brought to you by the team of Big Financial Services. I'm your host, Kristen Oakley, and joining me in the studio is the president of Big Financial Services, Glenn Cummings. We've got a great show for you today. The title of today's show is When Should You File for Your Social Security Benefit? If you've ever asked yourself that question or wondered when the right time is for you, you're not going to want to miss today's show. Glenn, my friend, great to be here with you. How are you this week?
You know, I have one thing to say, Kristen, as we always do.
Oh, yes.
Let's go! So excited to talk about Social Security. And, you know, what's really crazy, though, Kristen, is that all these calls I've been getting recently, who are you? I mean, I have the most beautiful host in the world, okay?
You're so
you know, I'm very, very careful, okay? Don't call in anymore about her. Just call in to talk about your taxes, okay? I mean, Kristen, you're so beautiful. Thank you for being here with me. And let's talk Social Security. A lot of people don't realize how important Social Security is in your retirement.
Yep. It's huge. And I used to, part of my background was working as a financial educator, traveling nationwide.
Yes.
I used to present specifically on Social Security. It is such a complex thing. It can be so confusing for so many folks. There's over 567 mathematical calculations of when you could claim. So this is why we've got to talk about it.
Yeah, you know, and one thing that's really, really nice about our company is that we have these really unique calculators, you know, and we can sit down and we can look at your awards letters, and it's really surprising how many people get these awards letters that kind of say, hey, if you take your Social Security at this age, here's what it is, at this age, this age. Most people don't even look at those. Right? And I had a couple that came in the other day, and you know, they were just so stressed. They're like, this is all we have in savings, and we need a certain amount of money per month, and I don't know if we're going to be able to do this, blah, blah, blah. Our other advisor, you know, is telling us we can't retire. And I said, well, let me see the plan he put together for you, right? And I looked over it, and it was all hypothetical this, hypothetical that. If the markets do good, you may have this much income. If they do bad, you may not, right? So I'm looking through this plan, and I said, hang on a second. There's something missing here. I'm like, what's missing? I'm like, don't you have Social Security at some point? And like, that's not even in the plan? I'm like, no. I said, let's take this plan and set it aside. Let me just build one from scratch for you. Okay? And by the way, I'm going to do this without a charge. And they're like, what do you mean? The last person charged us quite a bit of money for that plan. I said, well, if he didn't include Social Security, the plan's not complete. Right?
Yeah.
So we took our time and we looked at their ages, we looked at their income, we looked at their taxes, you know, and doing some conversions to help them with those future tax problems. And it really blew them away how, I mean, the husband's Social Security was almost $3,000 a month.
Wow.
Right? That was the pitfall. That's where they needed.
That was their income gap, if you will,
That was the income gap.
Yeah.
And then when I showed them, hey, we're going to reduce the taxes on your income by trying to get you out of these tax deferred accounts, right?
Right.
And instead of you having to pull out so much money to pay your bills, you're going to be able to pull out a lot less. And if he didn't include the Social Security, I believe in the calculations, was because the amount of money they were going to have to pull out of their pre-tax accounts would have caused their Social Security to be taxed.
Yes.
And the Medicare to be taxed.
Yep. A lot of
So
people
they would
aren't
have
aware
gotten
of that.
less income. So I'm like, and I'm not saying that guy did that. He may have just, you know, oversighted on their
Well, but a lot
stuff.
of financial advisors out there don't have the Social Security conversation with their clients at all, right? Continue.
Yes. They never do. And they're what I call, and we mentioned this in the last show, accumulation advisors. They just want you to accumulate all this money, keep it always invested so they can get their fees and commissions if they're a broker dealer. And you really don't have a plan built out, right? And then when you say, hey, I want to start taking a certain amount of income coming out of my accounts, they don't like that, right? I want my clients to spend their money. I want my clients to enjoy their money. I want my clients to also understand that if they do the right timing with their Social Security, they can maximize their overall income, their overall strategies, and making sure, now here's another one that's really, really important, right? We're able, so if I'm a married couple, so if I'm married to my spouse and she's married to me, whoever has the highest Social Security, right, when that's elected, my spouse can inherit that. So if she has the higher Social Security, I'm going to wait for her to get the highest amount of Social Security, right? So if for some reason I predecease her in the future, or excuse me, she predeceases me in the future, I can inherit her higher amount.
Right.
A lot of people don't even know that's available.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So sometimes it's worth waiting. One of us toning on Social Security may be a little bit early. The other one may be waiting a little bit later.
Yep.
Because that's a huge benefit. And here's the problem. Once you elect those options, and a lot of cases, if you do it wrong, it's going to be a big pitfall for your retirement.
Yeah, for sure. And what a lot of people don't realize is there's penalties that can happen if you're still working and you claim prior to your full retirement age. So before we get into all the weeds of all that, why don't we just go through some basic ages? Because I know there's a lot of misinformation, there's a lot of confusion out there. What are some of the key ages that folks need to pay attention to when it relates specifically to Social Security claiming?
So, a lot of times people look at ages, 62, full retirement, 70 years old, so there's different ages you can take your Social Security, and of course, the longer you delay it, generally the higher your income is going to be. But by delaying it, where I've seen some pitfalls there, is that people are giving up 3 or 4 years of that lower Social Security income, right?
Right.
And sometimes, if you wait till you're 70 years old to get the higher amount, you've given up $100,000, we'll say, worth of income.
It's an opportunity cost, right?
An opportunity cost. And then, in some cases, I've got to live to be 80 plus years old before I can recoup everything that I lost earlier.
Yes.
And where I see other pitfalls as well is, people not planning and preparing for the death of a spouse, right? Because, and also health is something that factors in. If I know that I have a lot of health issues and I may not live that long, and that's hard to look at, right?
Sure.
But this is the facts of life. We're all going to go, it's a matter of when. And if our health is not good, we may want to elect to turn on that Social Security sooner because when we're gone, there's only certain benefits that can be provided for our spouse. And if we're not married, right, we're going to want to have the most income, the most money we can get from Social Security because many of you have paid into this your entire lives, working years. And I see so many people that don't get the benefits of Social Security because they don't sit down with an advisor that can walk them through how important the timing is, when to take it, and everything else that is encompassed in that, which is a full written financial plan. You have to include Social Security in that. And that's something we, of course, offer every client out there, or everyone that would like to be interested in getting a written financial plan. And we do it for no cost at all.
And that's such a beautiful gift because it is such a maze to navigate through. And so if you've ever asked yourself this question of when should I claim my Social Security benefit, we've just barely scratched the surface on some of the personal factors that can often far outweigh the math. If you want help navigating this important decision for yourself, this is why Glenn and the team at Big Financial Services would love to connect with you. Again, this is for no cost, no charge, no obligation. It's simply an invitation to have a conversation to see how they can help and serve you. And as part of this complimentary written financial plan that they will build for you, you will receive a Social Security optimization report to help you answer this important question. That number to call to claim yours is 888-503-7408. Or if you'd rather connect online, if you simply pull out your smartphone, you can open up that camera app, just point, click, and scan that QR code that you see there down in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. That will take you over to a landing page, ask you a few short, simple questions, and then a member of the team from Big Financial Services will reach out to connect with you to schedule your complimentary meeting that way as well. Don't go anywhere. We've got a lot more to cover on today's show. We'll be back with more right after this.
So you have a 401k with a former employer. Great, fantastic. That means you've been able to accumulate some wealth, it's growing, but the problem is you don't have a lot of investment options that may be available to you except for what's in that 401k. So what's the best option that we see in a lot of cases? For clients to simply roll that over. No taxes, they simply roll that over to another IRA if you have an IRA account. And once that money rolls over, you can look at other options that may be available that you're not even aware of. Sit down with a professional, someone that can help you look over that 401k and either stay in the current plan
or look to roll that over to where you may have better options that may help improve your retirement in the future. Look at reducing those taxes. Look at getting a great income plan. That's something our company loves to do for folks. We'd love to share them with you. Please give us a call today.
Welcome back to the Big Money Show. I'm Kristen Oakley here with Glenn Cummings, president of Big Financial Services, where today we are addressing the important decision of when should you file for your Social Security benefit. So much goes into this. There's so many different mathematical combinations, permutations. My goodness, it can be really complex really quickly.
Yes.
This is why it's so important to work with a professional such as yourself who is up to date with the Social Security rules. And as we talked about earlier, a lot of advisors out there don't even have this conversation with their clients.
Yeah, they generally don't. And when I see folks that come into the office and they don't even have that as a part of their plan, we talked about that. That's very stressful because that's a very, I'm not saying it's a large source of income for retirees, but it's a very important source. But here's the other problem I see. Many of you out there that are saving for retirement, you've got a 401k, you've got former employer 401ks, right? And they're just sitting there and you really don't have the investment options that are available to you. Look at rolling those over. Look at rolling those to an outside IRA. There's no taxes upon rolling that over.
Right.
And there could be better investment options to grow your money over time, right? And one thing as well is a lot of people are depending on Social Security, right? So even though we talk about maximizing it and all the benefits of that, we can get you a report on when's the best time to take it and all the advantages of that. Don't depend on your Social Security to be everything.
Right.
So wherever your money is, you want to make sure it's going to be growing. You want to make sure you have some type of plan behind that money to make sure that you're taken care of in the future. And then Social Security is basically the icing on the top. Okay.
Right. Yep.
And but yes, it's very, very important. I've seen a lot of pitfalls by clients working with advisors that don't know how to calculate when's the best time to take it, and looking at all the parameters that are around this subject. And so that report that we can provide to you, the optimization report on your Social Security, is very, very important to get that.
It's part of that income piece, which is the foundation of any retirement plan you build for someone.
Absolutely.
I know you have no shortage of stories of folks that you've helped navigate through this important decision. So anything come to mind that you'd like to share with our viewers?
Gosh, I have so many great stories. I'll share one with you. So we had a client that wanted to retire early, and he basically had a few health issues, and he's like, Glenn, I just can't continue to do this job. And this is all I have saved. Right? And so I was able to sit down and we're able to kind of build a plan for him. And we needed to bridge a gap, what I call bridge a gap, between him retiring early and when's the best time to take his Social Security. So in the earlier years, he was doing more of a distribution from his investments to help cover his income. But by adding Social Security in, he's able to reduce the amount of money he was taking out of his investments at year 5, we'll say.
Okay.
Right? And at year 5, because he was able to reduce the amount of money he was taking out of his investments were then able to continue to grow and build and get bigger over time based on all the different things that we had planned and built for him.
Right.
Okay. So, and there's guaranteed plans available out there that are through life insurance companies, right? There's annuities that are available that a lot of people don't realize a pension is an annuity.
Right. It's always interesting when people say, I hate annuities. And then it's like, well, do you realize that a pension is actually an annuity? Your Social Security is an annuity, right?
Basically.
Yeah.
And so, those are the kind of planning tools we just share with you, and, but he was able to say, okay, wow, I don't need to keep taking this much money out of my investments by taking a lesser amount. I'm able over a long period of time to just let that grow. And he was completely blown away. But that Social Security piece was very, very important to his plan. He was able to retire early. He was able to take a little bit bigger income earlier. And here's the thing as well. In my planning, I always love the clients that say to me, Glenn, we've saved all of our lives. Our kids are going to get the houses, or they'll get whatever's left over. Right. This is our life savings. This is our sacrifice over all these years to save this money. But guess what? We've got, say it's 65, you've really got 10 to 15 years of traveling, of good times.
While your
right?
health is still able to do that,
While your
right?
health is still good,
Right.
right? All of us would love to be 100 and be in great health, but the reality of it is sometimes our health can decline 75, 80 years old, right? So these 10 to 15 year window is where more of my clients are going to spend more of their money. And I want them to.
Yes.
I want to just hit their bank account with nice monthly distributions, right? I want to make sure they can go out to nice restaurants and travel and do things with the kids, with the family, because you know what? They're going to slow it down at some point in time. And then when they do, right, we want to still have enough money there to cover all kinds of other things that can come their way. Long-term care cost we talked about.
Yep.
You know, and a lot of people think that Social Security will cover long-term care, right? Medicare will cover long-term care, and that's a fallacy. It's not
It does
true,
not.
right?
Yeah, it's a misconception.
Misconception. So planning for those kind of things are important as well. So that's an overall financial plan, and that's what you need. If you're sitting out there right now and you get your monthly statements in the mail and that's all that you get, and you say, oh, I'm either up or I'm down, and you're dealing with an accumulation advisor that's just trying to grow your money, but you don't actually have a plan in front of you, call us. Sit down, get together with us. And by pulling out your phone and either dialing in that simple number or pulling out your phone and taking a picture there and giving it a scan code, how easy is this? You know, don't procrastinate. How many people do I see procrastinate? Many, many people, right? A lot of people will call in and they'll want to get together, but then they have a trip or they have this or they have that comes up, and they never take care of those questions and concerns that they have. Let's get the questions and concerns handled. Let's put you in a great plan to where you know where you're going to be in the future. And the people that plan generally succeed.
Yes.
The people that don't plan generally don't.
Yeah, you know, you brought up a really good point that I think it's important just to reinforce, that in the absence of a plan, typically one of two things happens. Either folks are then unfortunately tempted to overspend and therefore run the risk of outliving their money. Or I think equally as tragic, Glenn, is people underspend, meaning because they're so afraid of running out of money, they don't spend money on the things that they want to do during their good health years when they can actually afford to do those things.
Absolutely.
They don't spend, and then by the time they maybe realize, oh, I will have enough, maybe their health is at the point where they can't go and do those things. So neither option is ideal. We don't want people overspending, we don't want people underspending, right?
Yeah.
But when you have that plan in place, that gives you the confidence and the permission to say, okay, I can go ahead and spend this money and be confident that I'm not going to outlive it down the road. So again, if you have retirement accounts, that's great, but retirement accounts alone are not a plan. Glenn and the team of Big Financial Services would love to be able to put a plan in your hands. And of course, as part of that plan, you're also going to receive that Social Security optimization report. So to claim yours, we invite you to pick up the phone, call the number on the bottom of your screen, 888-503-7408. Or again, you're also welcome to scan that QR code and that will get you connected as well. We'll be back with more on The Big Money Show right after this.
I used to sell vacuum cleaners door to door. And my brother-in-law said, Glenn, you can't keep doing that. You know, you need to look at something long-term. I was only 21 years old back then and started working with a life insurance company called MetLife and really learned how important that type of job was. Working with people, working with retirees, seeing people unfortunately lose their lives, you know, doing death claims. Never really knew about it, honestly. I was too young at the time, and all I knew is I was going to hopefully work for a company that was a big life insurance company. I really didn't understand a lot of those things. But once I actually started working there and I started seeing what the company's all about and all the things it does to help families, it really was something that was really special. My first death claim was a mascot of a pep rally, and he was the principal of a school, and unfortunately he passed away. I was the one that did the death claim, 21 years old, and you know, when his wife came in and we sat down, I could just feel the devastation, not only for her but for me, and to be that person that's sitting there to do all of this paperwork for her, you know, relieve all the stress and the anxiety she was dealing with at the time, and to say, hey, you know what? Your husband bought this policy for you and for your family and for your kids. And to deliver that death claim check was a very powerful thing. And I realized at that moment, this is something that really can impact families, and been in the business and loved it ever since.
Welcome back to the Big Money Show. I'm your host, Kristen Oakley, here with the president of Big Financial Services, Glenn Cummings, and a very important conversation we've been having today, all centered around the decision of when should you file for your Social Security benefit. You know, Glenn, one of the things that we need to talk about, and one of the reasons why Social Security has to be a part of your plan, is how we make a decision in one area of your financial life, it can and will affect all the other areas. And what a lot of folks aren't aware of is there's a taxation piece to Social Security as well. So let's talk about that.
Yeah, you know, it's a shame that you've worked your entire life to save, and you've paid into Social Security. And let's assume you've done pretty good, right? You know, you've saved money, you've got a nice big 401k, some IRAs out there, some pre-qualified accounts. And you get to your Social Security and you're ready to elect to turn it on. And then you turn on your Social Security, and then all of a sudden you're forced to take a required minimum distribution out of your IRAs, and you're required to take a higher percentage every single year.
Because you're getting older.
Because you're getting older, right? And the government wants their money, okay? They want their money, okay? So when you're forced to take those distributions, then all of a sudden that becomes a very problematic taxable event, and it also can tax your Social Security. You're not going to get the full benefits of it, right?
And it could tax up to 85%.
Up to 85%
of your Social Security benefit.
Yes. So that's also something that we really, really look at when we build our plans is, okay, you now have these large accounts that has a silent partner, which I call the IRS.
Right.
And the best time to get rid of your silent partner is now rather than waiting many, many years down the road, because down the road, your wife will be continued to get taxed on her Social Security, right? When it goes to your kids, that IRA, now they're required to liquidate the entire amount over a 10-year period, possibly at the highest tax rates. So look into Roth conversions, look into getting out of those IRAs. And a lot of people say to me, wait a minute, I've got all this money in an IRA. I can't even do a Roth because I'm only allowed to do, $6,000 something a year, right? No, this is not contributing to a Roth. This is rolling over your IRA to a Roth. So you don't have those restrictions, right? But what you need to do is you need to be able to understand the tax problem that you have. And we're doing this every show now, Kristen. I hope you're okay with this,
Oh
okay?
my gosh, of course, because
this
it's so
is
helpful.
something that, as a proprietary software that we've built this, we're really the only ones that can share this with you. And it's a very simplistic proposal that shows you, hey, I have this much money. Here's what I have in taxes possibly. Here's how my money is going to grow over time. And it will show you that tax problem that you have. And when's the best time to get rid of a tax problem? It's now while taxes are very low.
Yes.
And I believe taxes are going to go up in the future. Most of us do, right? So yeah, share with everybody the really cool tax calculator, because this has been a huge success. We've had more people log in to get this from us. And we're not going to bother you. We're not going to call you and drive you nuts to work with us. Once you get this report, you're going to call us.
Right.
You're going to schedule meetings with us, okay? But if you guys keep calling in and wanting to meet with my host, okay, please stop, okay? Because, she's on TV, okay? She helps me with getting you guys to call in, okay? All right,
It's a team effort, right?
It's a team effort, okay? But go ahead. I'm so sorry, Kristen.
No,
please share that.
It's
Please
something
share that.
I'm really passionate about as well, because once you see the difference, you can't unsee it. And so here's what we invite you to do. We're going to put up some screenshots so you can actually see what this looks like. But if you go to this website, bigtaxbill.com, you can also scan that QR code. That will take you to this landing page as well. And here's the first thing that you're going to see. There's just some simple information that you're going to put in: your name, your age, how much money you have saved up in these pre-tax accounts. Maybe it's a 401k for you, a 403b, or a traditional IRA. It's also going to ask you for your tax bracket currently, and you'll see there's a slider, so you can play around with it just in case you could say, oh, my tax bracket might be different in the future, so you can play around with that. Also, it asks you to put in an assumed rate of return on that pre-tax money. Okay, so you put that in, and then the next thing you're going to see, boom, it's going to show you side by side.
Wow.
Because here's the reality. if you don't have a tax plan in place for yourself, guess what? The government has one for you, and it's in their best interest, not yours. So you can see there on the left-hand side, that shows you if you do nothing moving forward, that's how much you could end up paying in taxes over your lifetime. Versus on the right-hand side, it shows you that with some strategic tax planning done, as Glenn was saying, even now, that's how much less you could pay in tax. Now, that's just what you see side by side right after you click submit. But guess what? An email will also be sent to you with a very detailed report. This is just one page of that report. But this shows you, right? It shows you side by side the difference between how much you could pay versus how much you could save with some of these tax saving strategies that Glenn and the team of Big Financial Services will be able to help walk you through. What a difference this makes when you can visually see it.
Yeah, and you know, there's a lot of you out there that have done better than an average rate of return of 8%. There are some of you out there that have even more money than we're showing there. So you can imagine how much bigger the tax problem is for you and for your spouse and for your kids. And like I mentioned before in previous shows, if I were to pass away, my spouse now is a single taxpayer.
Yes.
Married filing jointly, right, is a lot better tax-wise than a single taxpayer.
From a tax bracket perspective,
From
yes.
a tax bracket perspective. And
Yep.
all these things are things we sit down, we review, we go over with you. Please come into the office. You know, let's have a fresh cup of coffee. It's got the most beautiful oak trees all around the building. A lot of clients, they'll just come in and fall asleep in my office. Okay, I'm kind of
that
boring. You know, I'm
comfy.
sorry, Kristen's not always going to be there. Okay, I know you guys want to visit with her. Just kidding, Kristen. But we'd love to work with you. And I know we're going to finish up the show, Kristen. Thank you so much for
my
being here
pleasure.
for us. And
Yes.
man, you just make the show fantastic. We love
thank
having you be a
you.
part of the show.
Thank you so much. I'm
Thank
honored
you.
to do it. And you know what's exciting is I get to see the report every week of how many of you are calling in, how many of you are coming in and
Yes.
meeting with the team. And really what that represents is it's not a number. It is lives being touched, lives being changed.
Yeah.
You are helping to change the trajectory of folks' financial future. And I know that it has to be so rewarding for you.
Yeah, when people come in and they're stressed, they're concerned, they're upset because they don't have a plan in place, and then we're able to build that plan for them. It changes their lives. It really does. You know, if your plan is to buy a Corvette, so one of my clients was a plan to buy a Corvette. He's got that Corvette now, right? He's living a great retirement. Let's enjoy ourselves. Let's celebrate retirement. Let's do it together. And we're going to be here with you long term. Looking forward to it.
Yes, and it all starts with having that plan. And
Yes.
really, that's when you can sigh and know that you're going to be okay in retirement. So if you would like help getting this plan together for you, it costs you nothing. Not calling could cost you everything. So we encourage you, reach out. Call the number you see on the bottom of your screen, 888-503-7408. Or again, you're welcome to scan that QR code, and that will get you connected as well. And if you check out the big money tax bill, no doubt you're going to definitely want to pick up the phone and give that call. So thanks so much for being here. We'll see you next time here on The Big Money Show.